Saw last night from a couple teams was that you can never discount the heart of an athlete, whether it be Trae Young or Sorokin, the goalie for the Islanders. I mean, guys that came up big in big spots and on the road. And, that's what I always say. It's one shift, one period, one game. It's one, possession, one quarter, one game, that whole kind of thing. And a couple of teams came through last night. A couple of other teams did not come through, especially in the NBA side of things. The Clippers are out. The Timberwolves are out. Yep. That kind of thing. So it was amazing watching the furious ending to the Islander-Carolina Hurricane game yesterday because guys are on the ice. They're dying. They're trying to block pucks. They're trying to chip pucks out of their own zone. Butch Goring's falling out of the freaking, the broadcast booth. I mean, it was total mayhem and total chaos. And that's the way these games should look like. And they live to play another game, Game 6, of course. And the Celtics now have to go down to Atlanta for Game 6. All the things that teams don't want to do that had what I would call the momentum going into their home arena to win and knock a team out.
Sure, yeah. Nobody on that Carolina Hurricanes team wanted to or thought that they were going to have to go back to Elmont, to UBS Arena to have to finish this thing out. And you know that it's going to be nuts there. And hopefully they put together more of a Game 3 performance, the Islanders, and a Game 4 and force a Game 7. And then who the hell knows? But
oh, man, I just love what you love is just the utter tension, the stress, and that comes along with the playoffs. And we as Ranger fans have felt it the last two games. Islander fans have felt it the last 2 or 3 games, especially last night. I can't even imagine. Well, I can imagine how my daughter was feeling.
Sure, of course.
So it's just these things are worth the price of admission. The moments that you can never capture and never, ever bring back, but just wake up in the morning and that you see your team respond the way that a couple of these teams did respond last night in clinching scenarios. It's the best part of sport. It really is.
And I'd love to see the Knicks come out and finish the Cavs off in 5. That would just be amazing. I know they're capable of it. Not a lot of people believe, especially Vegas does not believe that they are going to do it tonight. It seems like everybody is under the same mindset that the Cavaliers are too good to just get smacked around at home and get knocked out in 5, and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are going to show up. I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm pretty confident in the Knicks. I almost am very confident that they'll win it in 6 if it goes that way. But I am not the one who is counting them out tonight. I really do believe that they can go in there and they could beat the Cavaliers and end this series because you've seen it. You've seen the Knicks rise up and sort of impose their will on the Cavs, and then the Cavs end up wilting late in these games. And I think no matter if they're playing in Cleveland or playing at the Garden, that's possible again tonight.
Well, just like I was talking about Trae Young and I was talking about Sorokin and those guys and Matthew Barzal last night, I would say the same thing for Donovan Mitchell. The last thing that he wants is to be embarrassed on his home court, and for the Knicks of all teams to knock them out of the playoffs. So I think you're going to get a great effort from those guys. It's just the athlete in me that tells me that they're not going to just give in. But the other side of me, as the Knicks fan, as the one that has, been waiting for moments like this for this team for years and years and years and years and years, knows that they have an unquestioned leader in Jalen Brunson, a heartbeat of the team that is Josh Hart, young players like Mitchell Robinson and Obi Toppin and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes. And you know that this has got to be the moment for the guy that I didn't mention. And it would be great to see Julius Randle go off tonight. That would be great.
Oh, that would be if you were writing a script. That's what you would write for this Knicks season is after getting benched in the fourth quarter of Game 4 that he comes out and he's the reason why they win Game 5 and he uses all that frustration and turns it into something positive and ends up being the best player on the court tonight.
Here's the thing. Draymond Green's nuts. Okay, we all know that he's nuts, right? So even he, after being suspended, knew that, maybe it would be better if I came off the bench and he and Steve Kerr decided that. However that was decided, I don't know. I don't follow it closely enough.
Yeah.
But I do know that it was decided and that, here's a guy that's got a big name, he's got a lot of championships and does all the dirty work for the Golden State Warriors. But when he comes back, he's coming off the bench. And it seemed to have worked pretty well for them. Now, whether or not I would think that they would continue that. I don't know why you would change if something seems to be working in the short order. This is where I want Julius Randle to be. Okay, so I sat on the bench in the fourth quarter because the coach recognized everybody else was playing better. That's the coach's prerogative. That's his right to do that, and that's what he gets paid to do, is to make the decisions that ultimately help us win. So I want Julius Randle to do well, but I also want him to be a good teammate and show up after the game, say, hey, I didn't play well. The coach did the right thing, sat my ass on the bench, and we won the game, and that's the most important thing. You never hear that from him when there's a moment, and he's had too many of these moments, and that's the thing that scares me about him, because you never know when that explosion is going to happen again. But I hope from an offensive standpoint and a good type of explosion, it happens tonight, because that would take a lot of pressure off of everybody else.
Yeah, and Draymond Green, of course, a multiple-time champion, has been a part of this dynasty, has been the heartbeat of that team, but he's also been the fourth best player at times on that team between Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant was there. Now, he had his own role. And the reason I bring that up is, Julius Randle, since he's been here, has been the guy. Now, it's changed.
Not this year.
It's changed since Jalen Brunson's been here, but he still is the leading scorer. He still was the guy that went to the All-Star game. He is still someone who I think there's just so much talk around him. He's the lightning rod of the team. So it's a little bit different for him when he's seeing the team play really well and him not being a part of it.
But you gotta sack up and
I agree. I'm just saying that he's got it.
Winning. That's all that matters. And I'm sick and tired of worrying about what his feelings are and how he feels about himself and how he's being used. And he didn't talk after the game, and even Charles Barkley went after him for that. And we go after him for that, and we have gone after him for that for over the past 3 years. I mean, you just gotta stand up and just say, look, the coach did the right thing, and support the coach, for God's sake, and do it publicly, and let the rest of your team. And I know the teammates seem to like him. That we always wonder about how teammates view other guys, and you never really know. And then you find out that the Green Bay Packer teammates loved Aaron Rodgers, and you saw what Aaron Rodgers put out yesterday about the Green Bay organization. I don't think he left one person out in thanking him in his Instagram
a lot of nicknames
post.
In there, yeah.
Right, a lot of nicknames in there. He was there for 18 years. It was a big part. Well, it is his life. And so I would just hey, Julius, let's get on board here. Let's get on the train that's winning and let the coach do what the coach is supposed to do. And I think the coach really does reflect who we are as Knicks fans. I know some fans out there are not crazy about the coach just simply because he runs his guys into the ground, as you put many times here, and he doesn't really expand his bench and all that other stuff. But, at the end of the day, the coach knows what he's doing. And if you have a mercurial superstar that's going to, walk off the court and not approach the media or talk to the media after something goes wrong, I mean, that is so immature and childish.
I couldn't agree more, and that was very disappointing, and I think we didn't focus on it as much because there was a win, and we loved the fact that they had taken the 3-1 lead, but of course it makes him look like the guy that the side of him we don't like, the side that's flipping out on the court, the guy who's getting in his teammates' faces, the guy who doesn't seem like the best teammate, at least from our perspective. But this is a huge moment for him. This is a huge turning point in his Knicks tenure. Are we going to be talking about Julius Randle as someone that needs to be off the team in the offseason, or are we going to be talking about Julius Randle as part of what could be a core that could go even farther than the second round next year? And I think it all starts tonight for him. If he comes out and he can't shoot again and he's terrible and he's doing that face that he's got going when things aren't going his way. I mean, that Julius Randle face. We've seen that way too much over the last couple of years. He starts doing that and then goes on the bench and then he's sitting there and sulking and moping around. And I mean, that is a huge problem. Yeah, and then I wouldn't expect him to play barely at all in the second half if that's how he starts the game. But if he's capable of taking this over too, and that's the thing about him. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, if you get Julius Randle in the first game, game one, where he hit his first couple shots and they really got into the game, got his confidence going, and and they do feed him, and Jalen Brunson, reads the game the right way from the point guard position, and they kind of hold Donovan under 40 points. I have a feeling he's going to go for around 40 tonight.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean they're going to win, because again, one player scoring all those points doesn't always lead to a win. I know Jimmy Butler had an awesome night the other night, but I just think that this is an opportunity, and I often think, when that opportunity presents itself, that guy has got to go and make a name for himself. And this is it for Julius Randle, I think, because it's a road game. It's at Cleveland. He hasn't had a great series, and he has a chance now again to get it right. And if he gets it right and has the good game and they win, then then he'll be in front of the microphones, he'll be in front of the cameras, and he'll be talking again. And then they can move on to the next series. But I would even say, like, for the Rangers, the same thing. Going into New Jersey, you got a top 6 group of guys that are many of them are borderline Hall of Famers. Some of them are first ballot Hall of Famers that are getting outplayed. And you have an opportunity to do something on the road in a tough building against a good team. Go out and do it. This is your chance.
Yeah. And I think the consensus is exactly what you said about Donovan Mitchell, and I've mentioned that before, that everybody believes because, he hasn't really gone off in a win for the Cavs in the playoffs, and that's really what he had done throughout the year, that he's going to do it in this elimination game at home. But, I mean, he just flat out hasn't been good.
Could you imagine if he were a Knick and he was playing like this?
Oh, well, yeah.
We all talk about we want him, and then all of a sudden, unfortunately for him, and good for us, and unfortunately for the Cleveland Cavaliers, he hasn't been the best Donovan Mitchell. He hasn't been the guy that we have seen this year.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a lock that he's going to play great tonight. I would not be surprised if he did. I mean, if he came out and he is such a great player, and if he takes over this game, he takes over this game. But remember, his best game was a loss for the Cavs, and in Game 2 was Darius Garland that was really carrying the water for the Cavaliers, and Donovan had a lot of assists in that game and was a facilitator, but I don't know. I don't really trust him.
I think he goes off. I think that hopefully the Knicks are going to win. I still think he's going to go off. He's just too good, and it is the Knicks. And
what do you mean by that?
What? Knicks. Well, because if you're a Knick or a Ranger fan, it's tough.
It's not
It's
right.
a grind.
Can never be
always
easy,
a
right?
freaking grind. It can never be like a 4-1 series winner or 4-0 series. It always feels like it's a grind, and there's always a villain on the other team that goes off.
Yeah. Or stops pucks like Schmid, who is the new villain.
Well, it's really Jack Hughes is the villain because he's playing with the Garden crowd, and and he's having a lot of fun at the Garden fan expense. So
right,
yes. I got to sit around another day and wait for this.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
and then also you've got the draft and the Rangers and the Devils on Thursday. And then, of course, Friday is going to be nuts too, huh? I mean, every single day.
Every day is crazy. Today is going to be the, contrary to popular belief out there, today is the Aaron Rodgers press conference, assuming that he does pass his physical and he does sign his contract.
Yeah, 2 p.m. today.
Yeah. That will be today, like I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
Other people thought that, they're not going to do it before the draft. They never do it before the draft. Hell yeah, they've been waiting for 2 months to do it.
Yeah, they got him here, and he was on that plane yesterday. We mentioned that, and he's somewhere in New Jersey as we speak, maybe watching CBS Sports Network or streaming us on the Odyssey app, or maybe he's got an old school radio that he's listening to the show, and the show opened today to see what we're saying about him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I'd like to imagine that.
Yeah, he's aware. I do know that. He is aware.
He's aware
of what we've been doing over the last month or so, yes.
Oh, okay, right, very good.
And I would say that today's going to be interesting because he got the Green Bay stuff out of yesterday, and the heart may be still in Green Bay, as he put it in his Instagram, that was eloquently written, and you could read all the feeling in there, which would be normal, much like Tom Brady did for the New England Patriots. His heart may be in Green Bay, but his head and his arm are here, and the rest of his body.
Yeah.
So, and I know that he's motivated, and I know that he's going to want to turn this thing around. This is like a huge opportunity for him. We were talking about Julius Randle. We were talking about the top 6 of the Rangers. We talked about Sorokin. We talked about Trae Young. This is going to be a huge opportunity for Aaron Rodgers to do something none of us could do when we came here. And there should be genuine excitement around I think, the motivation that he has coming here, trying to get this team, to the Super Bowl and at least into the playoffs. Now, I was told last night that CBS will have 8 New York Jet games. That's what I was told.
Okay.
Right? We will still have the AFC side of the playoffs. Remember, this is the year where there's a little bit more mixing and matching with the NFC and AFC crossing over from Fox and CBS on Sundays.
Okay.
So I do know that, and I feel pretty good about that. And like I said, I think that the Jets are going to have 6 primetime games. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.